Lesson 6: Mixtures, Compounds, Chemical Formulas, and Chemical Equations. Alright, first, a mixture is a combination of two or more substances that are not chemically bonded together. These substances can be easily separated. We're talking about things like sugar in iced tea. The water, the iced tea, and the sugar, that's all a mixture. They are not chemically combined together, and so they can be easily separated. An element is the pure substance found on the periodic table. Molecules are elements that are chemically combined to represent the smallest unit of a compound. For example, a molecule, water, H2O. This is a molecule. It is also a compound. O2, the air that we breathe, this is an element. It is also a molecule. So when you have two or more, you have a molecule, two or more elements, you have a molecule, and you have a compound. If you have one element, that there's two or more of that element, it's an element, but it's also a molecule. Compounds are two or more different elements that are combined to form a substance. Now, chemical formulas. Chemical formulas are a set of chemical symbols showing the elements present in a compound and their relative proportions. For, again, I use water, H2O. This is a chemical formula. And it shows that we have hydrogen and oxygen in the compound, but we have, with this subscript, tells us that we have two hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen atom here, hydrogen atom, and one oxygen atom to create H2O. Chemical reactions. A chemical reaction takes place when we have two or more substances that react to create one or more new and different substances. These reactions are expressed by chemical equations. Before we talk more about chemical equations, we need to understand the law of conservation of mass. The law of conservation of mass says that in a chemical reaction, no elements are created and none are destroyed. Only old bonds are broken and new bonds are formed. Basically, what this tells us when we look at chemical equations, that whatever is on the left side of the equation will have to be on the right side. In the same elements in the same numbers, because nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. We only break old bonds and create new bonds. Here's a chemical equation, one that you should recognize. If I read this, it reads 6CO2 plus 12 H2O produces or yields C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Again, you should recognize this equation from 7th grade. This is photosynthesis. Carbon carbon dioxide and water, along with energy from the sun, creates or yields or produces C6H12O6, which you should recognize as glucose or sugar. It produces oxygen, O2, that we breathe, and it produces water. But let's take a look at this formula, because we want to be able to move these up. We want to be able to count the elements in a chemical equation, and it's very simple to do. These large numbers in front of compounds or molecules, these are called coefficients. And this simply tells us the 6CO2 means that there are 6 different molecules of carbon dioxide. Each carbon dioxide molecule holds 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms. So I'm going to show you to count these. We make a T-chart like this, and it's very simple. Let's just start at the beginning. We're looking for carbons. We're going to count all the carbons on the left side of the equation. Here we have 6 carbons. There are no other carbons here, so there's a total of 6. Now let's go over to the right side. Here we have 6 carbons. There are no other carbons over here, so there's 6 carbons. Oxygen. We have 2 oxygens here. We have to multiply this 2 times the 6, because remember there were 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. So 6 times 2 is 12. There are no other carbons, so we have 12 oxygens. Let's look at the right side of the equation. We have 6 oxygens here. Again, 6 times 2 is 12. And we have 6 more here. So 6 and 12 is 18, and 6 more is 24. Well, we have a little bit of a problem, because now we have 12 over here and we have 24 over here. So, whoops, sorry. I missed out over here, didn't I? We have 12 oxygens here. 12 and 12 is 24. So we are balanced there. Kind of missed that. But that's what happens when you're counting. You go back and look to make sure, especially if it's not balanced. All right? So we have carbon, oxygen. The only other element we have there is hydrogen. We have 12 molecules of water, but there's 2 hydrogens in each molecule, so 12 times 2 is 24. So we have 24 hydrogens. And we go over here on this side. Here's 12 hydrogens right here. And we have 6 times 2 more. 12 and 12 is 24. We have 24 hydrogens here. So there are only 3 elements here: carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. But those 3 molecules, this is the reactant side, carbon dioxide and water, along with energy, react to produce C6H12O6, which is glucose or sugar, oxygen, and water. And that's our lesson for today on chemical equations and chemical reactions. I will have another short lesson on chemical equations and looking if they're balanced or not in just a day or so.